Ensure the personalized attention you deserve with a luxury vacation package from Delta Vacations and the Lifestyle Collection featuring luxury. You'll fly in the comfort of first class, receive VIP transfers to a luxurious hotel, and earn up to 7,500 bonus miles in addition to credited flight miles with the Sky Miles program. For reservations and information, visit deltavacations.com or contact a travel agent.
So excited to be here today. We are at Stepahnie Allin's boutique in London. We met Stephanie when we were in New York for a bridal market last October, and we are here to talk to her not just about the royal wedding, but also about her beautiful lines, what she's been up to since we saw her last October, and what is going on in London.
It's really nice to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is delightful.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. I was quite nervous about showing it to you, actually.
Why?
Well, because you're very cool and you were so kind to me in America, and it's just been lovely to see you here.
Well, this is wonderful, and it's been so fun to see brides come in and out and,
we are
try
busy
things
today.
out. You are busy.
Yeah, we're really busy. It's really good. Yes, it's been a huge project for me and the culmination of a long time that I've wanted my own London shop, and so it's been really great fun and very exciting and really hard work.
Well, we saw you last October and we saw so many unique designs that we thought were very unique for American brides.
Yes.
And when we came in, we see even more. And it's just, your taste is just wonderful.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. I believe that bridal fashion is as much fashion as anything else that you buy, but with hugely important factors that you have to take into consideration, and that is that really you should never let yourself be overwhelmed by a dress, and that when you're dressing for your wedding you want to look contemporary, you want to look glamorous, but I always like to go for quite a classical look, but maybe with a little bit of a quirky twist.
Do you think that brides should really look the part of a bride? So many people are trying to do designs that are just so like what they wear every day of the week, but just in white or ivory, and it's just, they kind of lose that presence.
I think, well, I've met lots and lots of brides over the years, and I think that dressing as a bride, you need help and encouragement to actually achieve something that is enhancing you to the best you can possibly be, but without actually turning you into a caricature or something that you're not comfortable as. And so for me, a good wedding dress enhances the girl. You've got to stay with the girl and make her be fabulous. And you know, it doesn't matter if a girl is a size 8 or a size 18, everybody is equally fabulous because they all get that lovely radiance that you have when you're really loved. And I think that's probably the nicest thing about being in bridal wear, is that there is so much opportunity. Just, you know, it doesn't have to be fancy and covered in glitz. It just has to really show the girl to the best she can possibly be. And that's my task and what I really love to do.
So let me ask, since we're here obviously covering the royal wedding, what's your take on what Diana wore down the aisle?
Okay, I have to be careful what I say. No, Diana got married in 1982, and I remember, you know, I was still at school then, and I remember watching the wedding, and of course, you know, she was beautiful, and she was young, and it was all gorgeous, and we thought she was fabulous. But it's certainly not what most modern girls would wear today, because I think it fell into that category of it was more about the dress than the girl inside it, and she lost so much weight, and it didn't fit her that well, and it was too big on the shoulders. But it had a huge influence on bridal fashion, and that influence lasted for over 10 years. And so you can't say it wasn't influential, you know. And she was the most beautiful girl. I mean, you know, she looked absolutely lovely. I think Kate's going to do it very differently. And I think that, of course we should call her Catherine now, of course.
Yes,
But
Catherine.
I think Catherine will do it very differently because, you know, not least because she's 10 years older than Diana was when she got married. And so her taste is much more established. And I think she's a lot more sure of herself. You know, I see her as a very self-assured young woman. And I think that she's going to do it her own way, whereas I think Diana, because Diana was extremely into fashion, and at the time what she wore was very high fashion, and it was of its moment. So that's what I think.
Well, and I think that Catherine is she seems to take the lead.
Yes, she does.
From William, and I see him guiding and helping her.
Yes.
Which is quite a difference.
Yes, I think there's far more sort of support between the two of them, and there's a reality about this relationship which I think people can really see. It shows in them, and I think that they're very independent and they're going to do things their own way, and I can't wait. It's going to be so lovely.
So what do you think she's going to wear? We
Okay.
talked earlier. And
We have already discussed this. Very hard to tell, but you know, she has got the most beautiful willowy figure, and she likes a slender drapey dress, and I'm thinking that it's probably going to be quite a slim dress, you know, possibly in a very fine satin, something, you know, that only a girl like she can wear. Probably not too much of a train. You know, we talked about this earlier, because obviously fine fabrics, you can't have a very long train in those kind of materials because they end up just getting all roped up on the floor. So possibly, you know, some beautiful veil that's very floaty and long, and then just a gorgeous slim gown. I maybe satin, maybe something chiffony. She'll definitely have her arms covered.
Yes.
And so I suspect it'll be rather a demure dress. You know, she's getting married in Westminster Abbey. You know, it's the most important church in the UK. You know, the Archbishop of Canterbury is going to be performing the service. So she's, you know, it's going to be dignified and classical and romantic, and it's going to show her really, really good figure.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that, you know, what we have yet to see too is also the bridesmaids' dresses and what they'll wear. I mean, everyone's so focused on the bridal gown.
Oh, we can't wait because there's no
who knows?
whisper.
Yeah.
Honestly, there has been not even a whisper of real information.
Well, and you know everyone in the industry. And
I
you
know
have
lots
heard
of
nothing.
people. I know, and I've been asking everybody. Trust me. But there is absolutely no clue. I don't think anybody knows. I really don't. Which makes me think it's probably being made at the palace.
And that's been Bruce's hunch. He's
Yeah.
been saying that.
That or else Clarence House. I figured those two places would have the most security.
Absolutely, because you know, she hasn't even been spotted going to any buildings or any places, and so people must be sneaking in there, you know, and doing things at the late hours of the night. I think it must be. But yeah, I mean, unless it's that the press have actually sort of made some sort of agreement that they're actually not going to spill the beans before the day, and maybe that's happened because there's an immense amount of goodwill towards these two people, and so I think everybody feels that they want to sort of nurture them and make sure they get the day they want. You know, that seems to be very much the current feeling that of people that I talk to.
So tell us about your designs. You're going to be showing in your first catwalk.
Oh, don't even speak of it. Yes. Okay. I'm doing my first catwalk show this year in London, and it's a huge thing for me. You know, this is what I've been working towards since I started my business, and so it's tremendously exciting. I've been working on it now for about 6 weeks, but of course I'm actually at the point, it's a month away, I'm actually at the point when everything's going backwards, of course. And so every time I finish a dress, I take it apart again, and I'm driving everybody insane, making them do everything 93 times.
Well, you know that you'll possibly be stitching gowns backstage before they go on, will you?
Of course I will.
Some designers do that. It's
crazy.
crazy.
The worst thing of all is that the show is on the 23rd of May, and it's taking place.
Time's ticking.
I don't even talk about it. It's actually taking place during the market, you know, the British market, which is called the White Gallery Show, which is a show to show the international press and buyers because apart from my own 2 shops, I do sell to boutiques in Britain and Europe, and trying to get my foot in the door in America, which is where I met you, of course.
Yes.
Anyway, so the show is on the 23rd of May. My niece is getting married on the 21st, which is the Saturday, which means I can't even be there over the weekend because this girl, she's my niece, and I've got to be there. I'm doing her dress,
Of course you are.
and so I've got to make sure that she scrubs up properly on the day, and she is the most gorgeous looking. She's a gorgeous girl, and so very excited about that. But of course, it couldn't actually be more inconvenient if they tried. They planned that, didn't they?
Yes.
So there's going to be, and because they're not getting married in London, so I'm doing this sort of race up and down the motorways of the UK, because I've got to be in London on the Thursday and the Friday. I've got to be in the wedding on Saturday, which is down in the New Forest, and then back to London for Sunday morning for the show. Anyway, it's what I thrive on.
Yeah, I was going to say, the more you have going on, the better things are, right?
Absolutely. So for my collection this year, I've been having a really interesting time, actually, because I think, for one thing, I do think that this royal wedding is going to influence bridal fashion as much as Princess Diana's dress influenced bridal fashion. And so I've got quite a strong feeling for very sort of soft and sinuous lines. Of course, I've always been very influenced by the sort of classical dress of the 1950s as well. So I'm actually sort of making it all work together. But I've been watching lots of old movies, Betty Davis and Jean Harlow, those great screen sirens, because it's a fabulous look. And sort of listening to all that great American music, and so because we've been putting music together for the fashion show, and so I've been listening to all that sort of Cole Porter and Gershwin and that, the great American songs, and so my look is, for this year, and I'm hoping people will buy into it, is going to be a very sort of sinuous, quite plain dresses, no glitz, maybe bits of lace and just pearls and softness and candlelight and sequins.
Just very sensual.
Very sensual, yes. It's been really interesting to do, because we've had strapless A-line dresses for a long time. Yes.
They need to go away.
Funnily enough, we're a bit bored of them now.
Stepahnie, we've talked a little bit about how the royal wedding dress will change trends, and obviously we're expecting that she'll have sleeves. Do we think that this will help brides?
I hope so. The thing about sleeves is that, let's turn it around. The thing about sleeveless dresses or strapless dresses is that girls love them because they make you narrow. You have that central smallness, and as soon as you put sleeves on, you do get a widening effect, which is why I've been one of the major parts of my collection for next season, because you can't just throw all strapless gowns away, because you're throwing your clients away if they still want it. So we've been working on lots of things that you can put on as additions to gowns, such as shrugs with, maybe with a sort of lovely raglan sleeve or a dolman sleeve in lace, so you see the skin through, or you work in organzas or very fine tulles, so that you can bring these details in and give them something new without frightening them, because it's going to be, I think, I'm bored with strapless dresses, and I know that nearly every, I know you see hundreds of weddings, and it's a challenge to turn that on its head. And I think this royal wedding, I'm sure she's going to have long sleeves, maybe 3/4 or maybe long, and I think that will help, because people do become very set in their ways, particularly with wedding dresses, don't they? And it's funny, you could look at a wedding dress from the 1930s or the 1950s, and you would know instantly. You could date that dress probably to within 2 or 3 years of when a photograph was taken, and that's because trends in bridal become so pervasive and so strong. So, I'm you know, I've been working a lot on trying to bring in, you know, just gorgeous details that you can bring up onto the shoulders and just that enhance dress without giving that wideness that
Right.
girls don't want.
Right. And do you think it's just easier for them to just go into a strapless because that's predominantly what's out there? Or, I mean, are designers trying to stay away from what was called the bell sleeves? You know,
Yeah,
that
I
for
think,
the 70s? Is
well,
that
I mean,
struggle?
nobody really wants to go there at the
Right.
moment. But, you know, I think sleeves are going to be close-fitting if we're going to go back into sleeves, or short. Or, you know, people will go with quite big shoulder details, you know, and I love a ruffle and a rose.
Right.
You know, and I think that sort of look could come back quite strongly if the dress is quite simple.
Because I see, like, the sleeves that you have on today. I mean, I see that
Yeah,
type of a sleeve coming back.
absolutely, absolutely. I think that, you know, bridal is difficult for girls because when, you know, we don't dress very much in our ordinary lives.
Right.
And, you know, and really our day wear has become less and less formal over the last 40 or 50 years. You know, my mother would never go out without gloves and a hat when she was very young. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not that old, but, you know, but that's how things used to be not that long ago. Whereas these days, you know, I get girls, they come in here all the time, they can't even wear high heels. And so for them, what you're, you know, this goes back to what I was talking about before, you know, bridal, you know, it has to enhance the girl and give her that inner confidence that she can wear. And a lot of that is about what they're seeing and that they're comfortable and accept as a bridal gown. And so, you know, with the strength of that trend of strapless, you know, for a lot of girls, you know, and girls who really shouldn't go there, you know, we've seen it a lot.
Right.
You know, but because they accept that that is what's current, that's what they should be wearing, so therefore, whatever they look like, that's what they're going to wear. And so guiding them is, you know, it can be tricky. I mean, you were just looking at one of my own clients here, you know, and we work, you know, our commitment to fit, you know, what I do in bridal is a little bit different to what a lot of bridal wear producers do, because we actually, you know, we manufacture in the UK and we fit dresses until they fit perfectly.
Right.
You know, my dresses, they're quite expensive, but that's really the core of what it should be. And so, you know, if a girl with a big bust wants a strapless dress, we can do it. But it doesn't mean I think it's what they should wear. But what I see as my job is I've got to guide them as much as I can. But if I can't prevent them from doing it, what I can do is make sure they get out in a dress that really fits them nicely and isn't going to start going south when they're wearing it. You know, because I've seen it a lot.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm hoping that, you know, that we can get back into some more interesting dresses. It would be so nice.
It would be nice. It really would be
It
nice.
would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like the audience is really receptive to the shrugs and
Oh, they
the
love
different
it.
options, the
Absolutely.
boleros, because it gives them that kind of dual look without the double price of having two different dresses. But you do get two
Unfortunately, they can be
dress
quite
dresses.
expensive. One of the things I'm doing for my new collection is I've been, you know, I was talking to you about this sort of slightly 1930s look, you know, the style of, you know, the great film stars,
Right.
you know, and I've been, you know, looking at all these books. I've got this great book about Bieber, who was a very famous London shop in the sort of late 60s and 70s, and what they were really famous for was this real Art Deco elegance, and they brought out all these you know, things like wedge-heeled shoes, Bieber, you know, feathers and hats and glamorous colours and dark lips, and you know, that was what it was all about.
Right.
And they had this very signature look with these little jackets with peplums and all terribly glamorous. And so one of the things I'm doing for my catwalk show is I've found this amazing vintage lace with these beautiful, it's got these sort of crochet panels in it, and it's just lovely. And I've made this great little jacket with the buttons and the peplum and the little bell sleeves. It's
Nice.
so cool. And I've done these, you know, these sort of palazzo pants, like very wide, you know, with this very slender hips, and then, but the whole thing is sort of based on a little cutaway, very low back top. It looks fabulous.
Nice.
I can't So I hope I've done the right thing. I don't think anybody's going to wear it, but whatever.
You will see.
I've done it anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah. And so we're doing a little bit of ostrich feather, you know, those kind of things that make people feel really glamorous. And you can do them in the smaller pieces, like you were saying about shrugs and jackets, because girls aren't too frightened with that, because they think, oh, I can take it off if I need to.
Exactly.
And then have something, you know, a little bit more what they see as more traditional.
So Stepahnie, how did you get involved in the bridal industry?
By a series of accidents, but in my early career, the very first job I had after leaving art school was with a London designer who, well, we sold to Liberties and Harrods and great shops like that, and she genuinely taught me everything I know about structure and flattering fit and how to create a bridal gown. She had amazing private clients. You know, we did a few royals, and the one in particular was we did a lot of accessories and cruise wear and a going away outfit for Sarah Ferguson, who married the Duke of York. And
royal wedding connection.
Absolutely. Well, I had to drop that one in. I was there for a royal wedding. And that was pretty exciting, very, very exciting in fact. And my employer, who sadly died 2 years ago, was incredibly generous with me, and she let me go to all the fittings. And
so you actually got to meet with Sarah.
Absolutely. We used to go to the palace, and all fittings were done at sort of 6 and 7 in the morning.
Oh, that's early.
Oh, absolutely. And we did all the fittings in the palace, which is why I think Kate might be having hers done.
I'm sure it's
I've done
that.
Yeah. And it was just so, I mean, what a privilege to go and see inside Buckingham Palace, and you know the royals all sort of live in suites of rooms, you know, and they have sitting rooms and all that stuff, and oh, it was amazing. I was just completely, you know, wide-eyed the whole time, and that was my very first job.
Wow.
It was such a great start.
Were you pinching yourself the whole time?
Was I what?
Pinching yourself?
Oh, completely. Absolutely.
You came out of the palace black and blue.
Oh, it was amazing. It really was.
Well, and at that time there wasn't a lot of access into the palace, was there?
Well, I was amazed, you know. I'll tell you quite an amusing story, because my employer, who was a very talented designer, but she couldn't draw. So when she got the commission, or when she was invited to submit sketches for Sarah Ferguson's going away outfit, she had to ask me to do the sketches for her because she couldn't draw. So I made all these sketches, and of course, as designers always do, we weren't ready until the actual day of the deadline to put the sketches in. So my husband had to come pick me up from work and drive me to Buckingham Palace, okay? And
you did that on purpose. You just wanted to show off.
And do you know what? In those days, we had, you know, we were not, you know, I was just out of art school, okay? So we had no money, and we had this rotty old car that, you know, had bits falling off it. And we rolled up at the palace, and I had to, they let us in through the big gates at the front of the palace, and I had to go up to a side entrance, you know, some royal equerry wearing a tailcoat, you know, came down, and I had to give him the sketches. And it was like living in a complete fantasy. It was amazing.
Sure.
And it was such fun.
Yeah.
She used to come to our showroom as well, and always on the phone. Always wanted to make a phone call, and I used to be on my hands and knees pinning things on her. But she was lovely. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, she wasn't rude, but she was a really nice, lovely girl. Beautiful hair. Another one with beautiful hair. I mean, she was gorgeous. It was such a shame that things didn't work out for them. You know, because she was really nice. And it was, yeah. I have lots of palace stories.
Well, you have to share more with us in New York.
I will. I will.
Stepahnie, this has been so delightful. Thanks for having us out today. It's great to see you again, and we definitely look forward to seeing what's coming from you this next season.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's been lovely to see you too, and I hope that when I come back to New York this year that we'll see you there.
Oh, we will definitely.
And yeah,
maybe on our catwalk.
That would be. I'd
awesome.
love to do that. That would be amazing.
That would be
yes,
fantastic.
please. You're on, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, anything you want,
do it.
just tell me.
All right.
I love it.
But
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been really, really lovely, honestly.